Dear friends, the title of my presentation is University Administration and Governance. I'll speak for 1 hour, and my presentation is divided into 4 units. So what are the 4 units? Now, the first unit is what is a university. The second segment or the second unit is university governance and graduate attributes. The third segment or the third module is 3 models of higher education. And the last segment is titled Issues in Higher Education. So these are the 4 segments or the 4 components. And each component will take something like 15 minutes so that the entire presentation lasts 1 hour exactly. Now, in the first unit, I'll be addressing 3 important questions. Question number 1, what is a college? What is a university? But more importantly, what are the differences between a college on the one hand and a university on the other? So that will be the first question I'll be addressing in my first segment or my first component. The second question that I'll be addressing is I'll be talking about the different kinds of universities that we have in India and what are the special qualities or the special attributes of each type of university that we have in India. Now, having talked about the differences between colleges and universities and also having talked about the different kinds of universities that we have in India, the last component that I would like to touch on in the first segment of my presentation is, I have devoted 1 slide for this. I would like to highlight the aims and objectives of higher education. So these are the 3 important questions that I would be answering in the first segment of my presentation. Now let us go to the first slide. Now the first slide, I have raised a very simple question. What is a college? Now in the next slide, I have addressed another question. What is a university? And in the following slide, I have talked about the differences between the college on the one hand and the university on the other. So what is a college? How do we define a college and what are the attributes of a college? Now, I have thought of 4 points when it comes to defining what a college is. Now, as we all know, a college, whether it is St. Stephen's College or whether it is Loyola College, Chennai, or whether it is Fatima College, Madurai, or whether it is Ramanujan College, Delhi, as we all know, a college is an institution of higher learning. And all colleges, whether it is a constituent college or an affiliated college or an autonomous college, all colleges are affiliated to a university. For instance, Loyola College, Chennai is affiliated to Madras University, whereas St. Xavier's College, Calcutta is affiliated to Calcutta University. So a college by nature is attached to, is affiliated to a university. Now, traditionally, this is the third point, traditionally, colleges offered mostly undergraduate programs. Now, I am very careful with the choice of my word. I used traditionally, which means today a college offers not only UG programs, but also PG programs. And in fact, some colleges offer research programs as well. But traditionally and originally, when the idea of a college was conceived, colleges were meant to offer undergraduate programs, whereas postgraduate and research programs, they were the prerogative of universities. So therefore, mostly undergraduate programs are offered in a college. Then you go to the fourth point, focus as far as a college is concerned is on teaching and it is not so much on research. Of course, now even colleges do research. In fact, some colleges excel in research, but traditionally speaking, an undergraduate institution is supposed to focus on teaching, whereas a university is supposed to focus on research. So dear friends, these are the 4 points as far as the college is concerned. So in India and elsewhere, we have different types of colleges. Now, I would like to talk about 4 different categories. What are the 4 categories? What are the 4 types of colleges? We have affiliated colleges, we have constituent colleges, we have autonomous colleges, and we also have community colleges. Now, what is an affiliated college? Now, Fatima College, Madurai It is an autonomous college. Even though it is an autonomous college, it is affiliated to Madurai Kamaraj University. So what is the meaning of affiliated? It is attached to a larger body, and that larger body is a university, an affiliating university, and that is the meaning of affiliated colleges in India. Close to 90% of the colleges are affiliated colleges. They are affiliated, they are attached to a university. Now, what is a constituent college? A constituent college, by nature, by character, is more or less like an affiliated college, but it comes directly under the purview of a university. For instance, Ramanujan College is a constituent college, whereas Loyola College, Chennai, it is an autonomous college, but it is affiliated to Madras University. Now, the third category is an autonomous college. Very few colleges in India have this status, that is the status of being an autonomous college. Now, what is the meaning of an autonomous college? In the domain of curriculum, particularly in the domain of curriculum, an autonomous college has the autonomy and freedom to frame its own curriculum. So as far as curriculum design is concerned, and also when it comes to teaching, learning, and evaluation, an autonomous college like St. Xavier's College, Bombay, or Loyola College, Chennai, or St. Xavier's College, Calcutta, they have the autonomy, they have the freedom to frame their own curriculum, and they also have the freedom to experiment with different modes of teaching, learning, and testing. Now we go to the last category, community college. Now in India, unfortunately, community colleges are not very popular, but community colleges are very popular in the United States of America. In fact, the US is the birthplace of community colleges. So if you ask me what exactly is the difference between the community college on the one hand and the other types of colleges on the other, I would tell you that basically there are two major differences. Number one, a community college, unlike a regular degree college, offers a 2-year program. In the US, an undergraduate program is for 4 years. In India, we have it for 3 years, whereas a community college offers 2-year programs, and it also offers diploma and certificate programs. So normally, most students in the US, particularly those who are not financially well off, what they do is they join the community college, they study there for 2 years, then they migrate to a regular university where they study only for 2 years, and at the end of which they get an undergraduate degree certificate. So community college has two features. Number one, it is only for 2 years, and whom does it attract? A community college attracts largely those students who are not financially well off. Okay. So dear friends, this particular slide talks about, it addresses two questions. The first question that it has addressed is what is a college and what are the different types of colleges that we have in India. Now we go to the next slide. The next slide talks about what is a university. In the earlier slide, we talked about what is a college. So now it is time to address the question, what is a university? Now there are 5 points. As a college, a university also is an institution of higher learning. You take Banaras Hindu University or Aligarh Muslim University or Delhi University or Jawaharlal Nehru University or Madras University, and a university is an institution of higher learning. Now, if you go back to the source of the word university, when you want to talk of the etymology of the word university, we find that it is a shortening or an abbreviation of the Latin term or the Latin phrase Universitas Magistrorum et Scholarium. That is Latin. In English, it means a community of masters and scholars. So traditionally speaking, particularly from an etymological point of view, what is a university? A university is a community of masters and learnings, of masters and scholars. Now, a university typically offers postgraduate and research programs. Or to put it a little differently, while a college is meant for undergraduate programs, a university is supposed to offer, is meant to offer postgraduate and research programs. Universities normally do not offer undergraduate programs, and the focus is on research. Later, I will be talking about the Humboldtian model. So a university should focus on research and teaching. So it is supposed to be a teaching and research institution. Now go to the last point. Barring unitary universities, all universities have affiliated colleges under its fold. You take Madras University, it has more than 200 or 300 affiliated colleges. You go to Bangalore University, there are plenty of affiliated colleges. You go to Mysore University, it has lot of affiliated colleges under its fold, under its wing. So what is this unitary university? A unitary university, THU is a unitary university. Aligarh Muslim University is a unitary university. So therefore, by definition, a unitary university cannot have affiliated colleges. Now, all other universities, when I say all other universities, I exclude number one, unitary universities, and I also exclude deemed to be universities. So barring these two categories, all other universities can have affiliated colleges. Okay, so dear friends, I have talked about what is a college and what is the purpose of a college. And I have also talked about what is a university and what a university is supposed to do. Now, in the next two slides, I would like to address this question. What are the fundamental differences between a college on the one hand and a university on the other? Now, I have two slides to talk about the differences between colleges and universities. So this slide talks about 4 points. So the first point, there is a difference in terms of size. You take a college like, let us say, Zahid Hussain College, or a college like St. Joseph's College, Trichy, or a college like Fatima College, Madurai, or a college like Lady Do College, Madurai. Okay, so you look at a university, whether it is Madras University or Bombay University or Delhi University, in terms of size, all of us know a college is relatively smaller, whereas universities are bigger and larger, especially in terms of size. So this is the first difference between a college and a university. Now, if we can translate it into a different terminology, you go to a college, a typical college, you will find a humanities block and you will find a science block. Whereas you go to a university, chemistry will have its own block, mathematics will have its own building, chemistry will have its own building. So therefore, the first major difference between the college and the university is the difference in size. Now, the second difference, colleges are affiliated to universities, whereas universities are autonomous. So universities are larger bodies, they are autonomous, and colleges, they are smaller bodies, they are smaller units, and they are not independent units, they are dependent on the university to which it is affiliated. So that is the second difference. The third difference, a, uni a university is supposed to offer research and postgraduate programs, whereas most colleges, not all colleges, most colleges, they offer only undergraduate programs. The fourth point, and that is an important point, universities are degree awarding institutions, whereas a college, even if it is an autonomous college, they are not degree awarding institutions. So there are four major differences between colleges and universities, and this slide has covered those differences. Now the next slide also talks about the differences between colleges and universities, and there are four differences. Now in terms of governance, there are differences. In terms of governance, there are differences between colleges and universities. What do I mean by this? You go to a university, there are different statutory bodies. There is an executive council, there is an academic council, there is a senate, there is a syndicate. So in terms of governance, universities have many administrative and statutory bodies, whereas in a college, most of these bodies are absent. Okay, at the most, a college will have a secretary, a principal, a vice principal, and deans, whereas in a university, you have many statutory bodies, many administrative bodies. Now, the next difference is in terms of funding. As far as a university is concerned, the funding is huge, whereas a college, the funding is very limited. The seventh difference in terms of infrastructure, when I talk of infrastructure, I mean particularly labs and libraries. Okay, you go to a university, there are huge labs, there are fantastic labs, there are labs with modern equipments. Whereas since the funding is not huge as far as the college is concerned, the infrastructure is not up to the mark. It is only limited, it is only modest. Now, the last difference between a college and the university, the academic options, they are limited. Now, a college at the most will have something like 20 or 25 or 30 undergraduate programs and maybe 10 or 15 postgraduate programs. Whereas you go to a university, there will be at least some 50 to 60 options. So in terms of academic options, there is a disparity between colleges and universities. In universities, you have plenty of academic options, whereas in colleges, you have limited options. So now that I have talked about the differences between colleges and universities, I would like to talk of the different kinds of universities. Now in India, we have central universities. And if I can give you some examples, Pondicherry Central University, that is an example. Hyderabad Central University is an example. Delhi University, that is an example. So we have central universities, and these central universities are established by an act of parliament. Now you have state universities. Madras University is a state university. Bombay University is a state university. Calcutta University is a state university. Savitribai University is a state university. Then you also have state private universities. And I'll give you two examples. OP Jindal University, that is a state university, but a private university. You have Lovely Professional University, that is a private university, that is a state private universities. Now, the third category of universities is we have deemed to be universities. They are not many in number, but in India, we have deemed to be universities. And once again, we have two categories of deemed to be universities. We have government funded deemed to be universities, and we have private deemed to be universities. Okay, I'll give you two examples for government funded deemed to be universities. I teach at Gandhigram Rural Institute, deemed to be university. Mine is a government funded deemed to be university, funded by the central government. Or you go to Dayal Bagh in UP. So that is a government funded deemed to be university. Then you have plenty of examples for private deemed to be universities. I'll give you three examples. You go to Bangalore, you have Christ is a deemed to be university. Or in Tamil Nadu, we have VIT, Vellore Institute of Technology, that is a private deemed to be university. Or SRM, which is also a private deemed to be university. Now, the fourth category is we have open universities, and the best example of an open university is IGNOU, Indira Gandhi National Open University. All states have open universities. Then the fifth category is premier institutions, particularly focusing on science. We have IITs, we have NITs, we have ICES, and we also have the Indian Institute of Science. So these are the five major types of universities. We have central universities, we have state universities, we have deemed to be universities, we have open universities, and we also have the central institutions. Now, the last line in my screen, it talks of dual mode universities. What are these dual mode universities? The explanation is very simple. A university which offers education through the regular mode as well as through the distant mode is called a dual mode university. I'll give you two examples. In Tamil Nadu, in Karaikudi, you have Alagappa University. It offers education through the regular mode, but it also offers distance education. So therefore, it is considered a dual mode university. Now, Madurai Kamaraj University, located in Madurai, that is also a dual mode university. Why is it called a dual mode university? Because it offers education through the regular conventional mode, and it also offers education through the distance mode. So that is why it is called a dual mode university. Okay, now I would like to talk of some more types of universities. You have unitary university. I have already talked about what a unitary university is. A unitary university, unlike a regular university, does not have affiliated colleges under its fold. Banaras Hindu University or Aligarh Muslim University, they would be very good examples of a unitary university. An affiliating university. Madras University is an affiliating university. Bombay University is an affiliating university. Then we also have special universities, universities exclusively for a particular discipline, like you have music university, you have health university, you have sports university, you have women's university, and please note there are 16 universities exclusively for women. And we also have language universities. In Tamil Nadu, we have Tamil University. In Andhra, they have Telugu University. Then we have Hindi universities. So these are also different categories of universities. And the last point in the first segment, I would like to talk about what are the aims and what are the objectives of higher education. In other words, what are colleges and universities supposed to do? Okay, so I would like to talk of 6 points. Now, the first point is when we talk of the objectives of higher education, a college or a university is supposed to preserve traditional and existing knowledge. I'll give you an example. I'll give you two examples. Now you take the domain of literature. Even though we are in the 21st century, it is our duty, our responsibility to talk of Chaucer, to talk of the Elizabethan age, to talk of the Victorian age. Okay, so the first job of a college or a university is to preserve traditional knowledge and the existing knowledge. If it is in the domain of mathematics or physics or chemistry, the earlier theories, the earlier concepts are outdated now. It is the job of colleges and universities to preserve the old concepts and the old theories. So that is the first job of a university or a college. The second one is, in addition to preserving the existing knowledge, it is the duty of colleges and universities, particularly universities because they are institutions of higher learning, to generate or to create new knowledge, whether it is in humanities or sciences, particularly in sciences, it is their job to generate, to create new knowledge. Now, once the new knowledge is created or generated, it is the duty of institutions of higher learning to transmit or to disseminate the knowledge. Now, with what purpose, with what end, with what objective? There are two purposes as to why knowledge should be transmitted or should be disseminated. Number one, for cultivation of the mind, what we call liberal education, or skill development, which is the province of vocational and technical education. And the last one is, with knowledge, what do you do? With ideas, what do you do? With concepts and theories, what do you do? You try to transform society through knowledge. Okay, so these are the 6 objectives of higher education. So dear friends, that marks the end of segment 1. So in segment 1, I have tried to answer 4 questions. Question number 1, what is a college and what is a university? The second point, what are the differences between colleges and universities? The third point, what are the different kinds of universities that we have in India? Then the last question that I addressed in the first segment is, what are the objectives or what are the goals of higher education? So this is the first segment.